According to data, 62% of Americans say the single most piece of influential marketing that will cause them to buy is testimonials from your customers. Testimonials. They want realness. And in the world of AI where things become more and more fake and more mass produced, ironically, I think we're going to, as vanity becomes more popularized, humanity is going to be the thing that actually breaks us through. We can just be ourselves. We don't have to be perfect. We don't have to dress up. We don't have to act. We can just be ourselves on camera and multiply ourselves out through the world. So how do you build trust? We trust people, first of all, that we see. Right? If you made a list, I said, who do you trust most in your life? Who are the 5 people you trust most in your life? There's a good chance it's people you see on a regular basis. So people need to see you. Right? They trust you offline because they see you at the soccer games. They see you at church. They see you as a real human, and they trust you. The same thing is like they have to see you, so they got to see your face, not a logo of the company. They need to see you as a human. The other thing is we trust people who we know things about. People trust people, like again, if you look at who do you trust most in your life, who are the 5 people on the list, there's a good chance you know intimate details about them. You know the mistakes they've made. You know what their favorite food is. You know when they, some of their secrets, and you know the best parts about them and the worst parts about them. In fact, I was putting my oldest son, down for bed one night, and he's 7, and we're reading, and this was a part of my life I never wanted to share was my faith. So I'm a big data nerd, and for a long time I was very skeptical of like the Christian faith. And anyways, I started studying the history and the archaeology of like the Christian faith. And I became a very devout believer. And I thought I couldn't share it because I thought people would disqualify me. They would think me as uncredible, or that I would get canceled for talking about faith. And I'm not saying that you should do this necessarily, but what happened was I was putting my son down for bed one night, and he asked me this question. He says, "Daddy, where does God live?" I was like, geez, I mean... So I'm like, I don't know. So I go like this. I go, you know what, buddy? God lives right here. He's right here, and he's always with you. And he looks at me, and he goes, God lives in my nipple? And I was like, no, not quite that, buddy. But so he was asking me these questions, and I had this terrifying thought. I thought, what if I die before my sons become old enough for me to explain to them how Daddy was a total skeptic and became a total believer based on history and facts and logic and archaeology, and it scared me. And so I was like, I got to record this. So I recorded a podcast, and it ended up being 27 hours of just content of how do we know Jesus was real, and why would anyone believe he raised from the dead, and how do we know the miracles are true, and how do we know and I recorded it. And then my wife was like, you should release that to the world. And I was like, no way. I thought we would lose customers. But the data said we should do it. So I did it. So I released this special podcast. It's called Eternal Life. 7 questions every intelligent skeptic should ask about Jesus, right? Just a total side project. And I was terrified about what would happen. And you know what? We lost 2 customers. There were 2 people who canceled. They said, we don't want to work with you anymore. We don't feel comfortable about this. We lost 2. You know what else happened? Hundreds of people flocked to us saying, now that I know who you are and what you believe in real life, I feel so much more comfortable doing business with you. And they weren't all Christians. I'm not necessarily saying you should share your faith. I'm just sharing that story as a real life story of how the data convicted me. We don't have to be afraid of who we are in real life. We don't have to be afraid of that. It's the humanizing elements that bond people to us. But we have to have a little courage to let them know us a little bit. And the strategy that we use is, I say your feed should be all about what you do, right? So if you go to like my Instagram feed, you'll see it's videos and tips and inspiration and helpful, but then your stories should be who you are. And so in my stories, I'm sharing pictures of kids and my travel and Bible verses and books that I'm reading and like more random stuff like that. But that's where we build trust. We attract people based on our expertise, but we convert people based on the trust of who we are as humans, just like in real life, just like online. Here's the data. 2/3 of Americans, 67%, say they would be willing to spend more money on products and services that come from the companies of founders who share their same personal values. They're not buying because we're the best in business. They're buying because they trust us as humans. And it's weird how radical it is to say that out loud. But this is the data. And look at how this is going to trend. If you just look over the next, older millennials, it's 80%. These are your buyers in the next 10 or 20 years. They're saying, I want to know who you are. Not just what you do, I want to know who you are. The other way that people buy from you or trust you is when they learn from you. We trust pastors and coaches and teachers and mentors. And so the tactical strategy is you should teach all of this. And here's how you do it. Just every day or once a week even, take a video camera and record a 6-minute video and answer one question at a time. Just go into ChatGPT or have your marketing person say, what are 52 questions that somebody would have about commercial security in Springfield, Illinois? And it'll give you questions and just answer them one at a time. And what you do is then you do what we call the content diamond, where you record the video, and you're done. You don't have to do anything else after that. Just share your wisdom, share your experience for 6 minutes on video. Now, the team is going to take that video, and they're going to send it on 2 different paths. The first path is the text and imagery path. They're going to take your words, and they're going to upload them and transcribe them using AI. Now they have your actual words, and they're going to edit that into an article that you can post on LinkedIn or Medium. You can put it into carousels on Instagram. They're going to highlight the best 1 or 2 quotes from your whole clip, and they'll put it on a picture of you or a picture of the company, and they'll share that. And now you've got images that you can use. Simultaneously, while that's happening, they're going to take the video, and they're going to take that down the audio and video path. And you get an editor, either from your team or a freelancer that you hire, and they're going to add some infographics, like some jump cuts to zoom in and zoom out and zoom left and zoom right. They'll put some lower thirds, some pull-out quotes over your shoulder, maybe a little royalty-free music, a little royalty-free stock imagery, and now you have a nice, polished 6-minute video that you post once a week, and you just post it on YouTube. They then strip the audio off of that video, and now you're a podcaster and you didn't even know it. And then they take that 6-minute video and they edit it down to 60 seconds and they post that for you on TikTok and Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. And now you're reaching people. They post that on LinkedIn and Facebook. And now you're reaching people, and then you take all of those assets and you put them on your website. And that's where people all show up together. And this is the production process that we're running behind the scenes for the world's biggest personal brands, right? Like Ed Mylett has millions of followers. If you look closely, you'll see the same video in all the different places. It only took him 6 minutes. He's multiplying his reputation, multiplying his lead flow, building trust. And here's my advice. Save the best for first. Save your best advice for first. Teach the best thing you know right away, because people don't pay for information. They pay for organization and application.